Hello and welcome to the show. Sorry I've been away for a couple of days, but I'm back and let's get straight down to business. So before we begin, the usual, there's going to be a listener shout out, and this is to Engineer AB. Sorry I forgot to get your real name, or your full name rather. So Engineer AB, he's the creative director for Baolius Engineering. Sorry, yeah, I'm definitely not pronouncing that right. So the company name is Baolyus. So Baolyus, Baolius Engineering, and they're into fabricating agricultural equipment. So if you'd like to have a look at Engineer AB's stuff, see what engineers do, in the fabrication space, in just basically making equipment that people need for carrying out the agricultural businesses, then check him out. It's the same name on YouTube, and if you check Google, they have a Google My Business page there. So today's listener shout out Engineer AB, and the company name is Baolyus Engineering. Yeah, so that's it. He discovered the podcast on Spotify, if I remember correctly. He reached out on first on LinkedIn. Eventually, we had a chat on the WhatsApp, and pretty stand-up guy, interesting guy, and also a perfect example about how things are much more vibrant than we know in the Nigerian economy, because a whole bunch of us who have passed through the school system, primary school, secondary school, into university, the only things that we're exposed to are the typical stuff. You grow up and be either a lawyer, a doctor, or let's see what else, engineer, the usual professions that we have in this part of the world. But then we don't come across people like this who go to school, take their school chops, and then apply it to something altogether different. Because during my day, you were either going to be an intellectual, in quotes, or you were going to end up in a polytechnic and using your hands. But there are some people who are in a hybrid sort of role. So yes, he has gone to university and he has all the academic knowledge that is required to call himself an engineer. But then again, he's also doing lots of handiwork in fabricating all these machines. He works with his father, by the way. They run the business together. So fabricating all these wonderful machines that you need for processing food, for poultry systems, and all kinds of things. So that's a listener shout out for today, Engineer AB. A couple of shout outs. Okay, let me just leave it at Engineer AB for now. So the other guys, I'm going to shout you out tomorrow. So for today's podcast episode, I'd like to achieve two things, or rather tackle two questions. One of them is, how should I put it? Well, tips for outreach online. Now, for the purposes of the podcast, whenever you hear outreach, just take that to mean you are reaching out to someone. So whatever it is that you're doing to try and contact someone, to try and get somebody on your radar, or rather, to get on somebody's radar, get somebody's attention, initiate a conversation, whatever it is that you're trying to do, we're going to call all those things outreach. So I'd like to give a couple of tips for how you can be much more effective. I can be much more effective doing that online, because a whole bunch of us are trying to use LinkedIn, use Instagram, use WhatsApp, use whatever tools available to do outreach. So that's it. Now, the primary tip that I'm going to give for today is something I've spoken about in the past, but I really think from what I see out there that you guys are just not getting it. And that is this whole thing about research. You should be researching your prospects before you do any form of outreach. Now, this was not possible back in the day. So for our parents who are trying to run their businesses or their careers in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, the opportunities didn't exist to go and do research on someone. I mean, you might talk to somebody and say, oh, I want to go and meet Engineer Onoha. What can you tell me about the guy? Oh, Engineer Onoha is your guy. How far now? Can you hook me up with a meeting? That sort of thing. But now we have the opportunity and we have the resources available to be able to go online to Engineer Onoha's LinkedIn, to his Instagram, to his to his website, to whatever, to kind of get a fair idea about who he is, what business he's up to, those sorts of things, before we show up at his office, or before we give him a phone call, or before we visit his house to try and see how we can drum up business. And we have not been taking full advantage of these resources that are available. So just do some basic research. Now, I want to give a warning, a bit of a caveat here. There are some of you that are going to say, because some people have said we should do research, you're going to spend 30, 45 minutes, 1 hour doing research. By the time you're spending 1 hour or 30 minutes doing research, you have gone too far. What I'm just saying is the basic stuff before you go out and meet somebody. All right? So, you think Engineer Inoha is a good person to go and check out, just do a basic Google search. A few things will come up. His LinkedIn handle will come up. Click on the LinkedIn and then see. Click on the company page and then see. 5-10 minutes should give you kind of a good idea about how to start, where the conversations might go, things like that before you reach out. Now, the reason why I bring this up is this. Recently, a web design professional reached out to me on LinkedIn and was trying to sell me on how I should update my website. Now, for those of you who've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you guys know that I do not have a website. I have never had a website. Well, back in my wedding photography days, back when me and my brother were in business together, we did have a website. But I have ditched the whole thing of having a website as a deliberate part of my business strategy. By the way, I am not saying I am correct. I am not saying you guys should ditch your websites. It's just that with where I am now, with the kind of ideas that I have for business development, drumming up interest, all those sorts of things, a website for now is not central to how I choose to run my business. And so I do not have a website as at the date of this recording. But this web design professional reached out to me and is trying to sell me on updating the website. So this is why I say that you guys should be doing just some basic research before I reach out to people. If this fellow had just checked my profile, my LinkedIn profile, he would have gotten enough signals on whether I need websites, whether I use websites, or stuff like that. So this is the kind of research that I'm talking about. You just open somebody's LinkedIn handle, and of course, on most people's LinkedIn handles, they like to put up their website. So if somebody puts up LinkedIn handle, there's no website, but there's a link to a podcast. You check around the podcast, you can't see anything. You check the Instagram, you can't see anything. I think it would be safe to assume in this case that the person doesn't have a website or is not something that he's promoting. So in this case, if he had done his research, it wouldn't have been, oh boy, how far, this is what I do. If you want to update your website, I'm here. If you had done some research, the take would have been something like, hey, oh boy, what's up? I've seen your stuff. I love the podcast, especially what you said on episode XYZ. However, I think you could be growing the podcast some more if you had a website and part of your strategy was ABC and 1, 2, 3. Now, that is a different kind of conversation, and that is outreach that is relevant because the guy has done some research. Now, this is the reason why research is important. Remember, I am not saying take 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour to research somebody. Just do some basic stuff. Open up the person's LinkedIn and check. Open up the person's Instagram and check. Open up the person's website and check. If you just look at those things, you have an idea about how you should approach the conversation. Whether you're supposed to be formal or informal, whether you can be how casual you can be, or give you a sense of how you want to carry on the business conversation. Because like in this fellow's case, like I said, if he had done some research, he would have seen that the way to start the conversation with me is not, I'm here when you want to update your website. But it would have been, I like what you do, you're doing real good. However, I think you can do more if you had a website. Would you be interested in having a conversation to see how we can hook this up? So, please research. For those of you who are worried or complain about why people snub you online, this is the reason why lots of you are getting snubbed and people will see your message and not respond. So when you send a WhatsApp message and you see those two blue tick marks and the person didn't see anything, this is the reason why. You're doing a whole bunch of outreach that is not relevant and is not targeted, and that's because you have not done some basic research. So, number one tip for today, for those of us who are doing online outreach, just do some basic research. Before there was the internet, go and ask your parents. Before there was the internet, your father or your mother would not just go and enter somebody's office cold like that for a meeting. I mean, how? You will ask one or two people in church or in the office, like, oh, you know this guy, how far, what kind of person is he, or what kind of business are they into, or when do you think would be the best time to branch the guy? Should I meet him in church or should I meet him at home? And all those kinds of stuff. So, with the same common sense that our mothers and fathers and our uncles and aunties used to run their businesses, 60s, 70s, 80s, that is the same scope that we should be doing right now, 2024, 2025 and beyond. We just have to adapt it to the online space, since a whole bunch of us spend a lot of time online. Then the second tip that I have today, this one is for sales professionals, really. Those of you who are employees. So you don't run your own business, but you work for somebody. Who has a business. So back to the example that I used, I think in the previous recording, your madam owns a shop and she sells clothes imported from the UK for children between the ages of 6 and 18. And you're the person who handles the Instagram and you're the person who is in the shop, so that whenever people come, they interact with you. So I am now talking to sales professionals now. I'm talking to that sales guy or sales girl who is manning the Instagram and who is in the shop for when people come. Or your Oga imports car batteries and stuff like that, but he's not in the shop all the time. You've done your apprenticeship, so you're now the one in the shop while Oga is not around. And then if somebody needs a battery or a new transmission system or whatever, they come and talk to you. So I'm talking to sales professionals now. Or you work for Leadway Insurance or Access Bank's insurance arm, and your sales manager sends you out every single Monday to go and look for customers. So this is the tip now for those of you who are employees. You are still sales professionals. You're just doing it on behalf of somebody else, trying to move somebody else's business. Now, before I get into the tip, we should be doing our best as sales professionals, sales employees. We should be doing our best to move our Oga or our madam's businesses forward. And this is the reason why. The reason why is because in moving madam's business forward, if you are the person who is manning the Instagram handle and you are in the shop, when people come in on to buy the business clothes, or you sell for Leadway Insurance, in trying to move Oga's business forward, you will have to learn some skills that are easily transferable into different contexts. The more of these skills that you pick in trying to do good for Oga and Madam now, it'll make you much more valuable to your own business interest when you start your own business tomorrow. Excuse me. So, if right now you sell for Leadway Insurance, or you sell insurance products for Access Bank or for GT Bank, and you're just doing yourself anyhow, yes, you're doing the business anyhow, but the truth is, you are also hurting yourself, because after 3 years, when you're ready to start your own business, no matter what it is, let's say you want to leave selling insurance and you want to be a wedding planner. If you did not try to apply yourself as a salesperson when you are selling Leadway Insurance, you're going to be starting your career as a wedding planner with a deficit. You could have spent 3 years while being paid salary, working for somebody else, learning how to look for customers, being confident in how to approach people, learning how to have qualifying conversations to figure out what people's problems are, learning how to make effective proposals, learning how to build rapport and build relationships. You could have been doing that for 3 years while you were working for somebody else and somebody was paying you salary. It actually is the best way to learn. So while you are an employee and somebody's paying you money now, I'm sure you might be thinking, if I overdo, I'm growing somebody's business. Yes, I agree. You're growing somebody's business and it sucks. But the thing is, you are also investing in yourself so that tomorrow when you leave, and because chances are you will leave, it was during our parents' day that people used to stay 20, 30 years with one employer. Now typically we move in sharp, sharp, sharp. I would say people work for an employer maybe 3, 4 years and then you cut and then you move. So when you leave, if you've employed yourself, you are now going to take these skills with you. You're not going to leave these skills for the employer. Whatever skills you pick up when you're learning how to sell insurance for GT Bank or for Access Bank or for Leadway, you will carry those skills with you. Your employer is not going to say that rapport building skill that you built, put that rapport building skill, leave it in the office, go out of here, but leave the rapport building skills. You carry it with you. So because of that, my tip for sales professionals is that you should want to improve your performance. The reason why I'm talking about this today is because I've been having a trying customer interaction. Somebody brought me in, improve his business, talking to a bunch of their salespeople, and there's one person in particular, he's just not getting it. He doesn't understand. He clearly doesn't want to improve performance. I mean, he's not getting it. That if you are with an employer in Nigeria, because let's face it, Nigerian employers, most of them are just jackasses, as in they don't care. So if you're in that organization, that rare organization in Nigeria, where your employer actually gives a hoot and has actually paid for you to do online training this, online training that, bring a coach in, bring a this, bring a personal development specialist, bring a whatever, it's gold. If you're in that kind of organization and your oga or your madam has called somebody in, take advantage of that opportunity and want to improve yourself and want to improve your performance. Because like I've been saying, if you work in that kind of organization where the person calls me in and it's my job to make sure that you guys are at your best, you sell at your best. When you decide to leave in 2 or 3 years, it's not as if you can take the benefits of all this training and performance improvement that they've been running you guys through. It's not as if you can remove it and drop it for the company. You will leave with that knowledge. So please, sales professionals who are employees of other people, you should want to improve yourself and you should want to improve your performance. Sorry about the noise that's in the background. I'm not in my usual recording space, and we've gone through that whole 7 days rain and blah blah blah. So everybody's taking advantage of the sunshine and what do you call those things? Lawnmowers and all those things. Everybody's cleaning up the grass and all that. So that's the noise that's coming through in the background. Where was I in my rant? So I was just saying, sales professionals, this thing really blows my mind. You should want to improve your performance, and this is why. Because if you improve your performance here, and yes, you grow your oga's business or your madam's business, it sucks because you're helping your oga become a millionaire. Yes, that's true. But the thing is, eventually, you're going to leave oga or madam. The time will come for you to improve your own life and become a billionaire or a millionaire or a billionaire. The process of getting to your millions or billions is going to be jump-started or going to move a whole lot quicker if you did a good job while you are with oga of learning how to improve yourself. So, my recommendation for those of you who are sales professionals selling on behalf of other people, number 1, information diet. It's not just food we should diet from. You should have an information diet. You should have some form of regular, weekly, daily, monthly, whatever, self-improvement, skill acquisition, something that expands your frameworks and your mindsets. You should be doing any of these things. Now, I have some good news for you. Back in the old days, in the days of my father and my mother, if you wanted to improve your information diet, you would have to go and pay. For those of us who grew up in Lagos, they're training, I don't know if they're still there, but some of the old names in training space, you would have to go there and pay, X thousand naira per head or per employee, per organization, and you pay for these things. But now information is readily available on the internet. The podcast that you're listening to, this is one of them, now available on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, do an expanded search, you will find other people. So it is not inconceivable to think that in this day and age, you can find seminars on YouTube that every single month, let's say the first Monday of every month, you listen to improve yourself. It's not inconceivable to think that. In fact, if you're a salesperson, it is how will I put it? You'll be stupid not to. Let me just put it that way. At the very least, first Monday of every month, go to YouTube, pull up some of those seminars and listen. In fact, the monthly thing, I think if you're doing once every month, I think that's not good enough. I would recommend weekly. But let me just say, let's just make allowance that, okay, some people don't like audio, some people don't like video, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no problem. At least once a month. Just make a date with yourself. Put it in your diary. Put it in your Google Calendar. First Monday of every month, or last Friday of every month, or second Wednesday of whatever it is you want to do. Just, these things are out there. They're free. Just listen. Watch it. As you're watching, pencil and paper, start writing down stuff. This one sounds stupid. I won't write it down. Oh, this one makes sense. Let me write this thing down. This one makes sense. And this one looks like it's something I can apply easily in this context. Okay, no problem. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., when I resume work, let me try it. Let me see how it works. So, you need an information diet. An example that I've given to the team that I'm currently working with on behalf of the employer is this. There's a guy called Victor Antonio. He is an American sales trainer. He comes from, it's mostly complex solutions that he sells, that he used to sell back when he was in the field, because now he owns his own agency, so he's not in the field anymore. So he used to sell digital solutions, mobile solutions, engineering solutions, all kinds of things to different businesses. So they were selling routers and other kind of fancy stuff that I can't remember right now. But the reason why I recommended Victor Antonio's podcast is not because Victor Antonio is the best, though. I mean, he's a correct guy, but it's not as if he's the best. I recommended him because his episodes are no longer than 10 minutes. So for those of you who love listening to my podcast, but you're angry because sometimes I do 10 minutes, and then sometimes I do 45 minutes, and then sometimes I do 1 hour, and it makes it hard to plan your day. Don't worry, I'm working on that. So all those 1 hour episodes, I'll try and cut that out. But I'm just trying to say that if you're angry about long episodes, there are people like Victor Antonio who do nothing more than 10 minutes max. I think I've listened to one episode that was 20 minutes, but 10 minutes, sharp, and the guy is done. And his focus also is on giving practical tips just like me, so that you listen to something today, and it's something that Tuesday morning, 10 a.m., you resume work, you can apply this thing. So that's what I recommended to the team. I said, look, this is Victor Antonio. You guys are in the complex sale. Victor Antonio is from a similar background. So you guys just take this Victor Antonio, listen to it every day. Let's discuss one thing. And you'll believe that this simple assignment, listen to something for 10 minutes every day. The people that I'm talking to, they don't drive. They take public transport. How hard is it for you to sit in a downfall and you remove your earphones? In fact, in Lagos, well, I don't know what Lagos is like right now because I haven't lived there in a long time. But while I lived there, my own commute was 2 hours. 1 hour to work, 1 hour back. If traffic was rough, my commute would be, 3-4 hours. Maybe 1 hour getting to work and then maybe 2 hours back. In cities like Lagos, where you have these long commutes, you are daft if you are not sitting down in traffic and then just taking out at least 10 minutes, pull out your earphones, listen to something that is going to enhance your ability to sell. You are just being daft. So, look for these resources, especially those of you who live in Lagos, those of you who live in PH, where you spend 45 minutes, 1 hour in traffic. Help yourself. Look for some of these things. On your way to work, listen to one. After that, then you can, watch, Netflix, something much more entertaining. And then on your way back, watch another. That 10 minutes that you're doing every single day is what's going to be able to help you double or triple your performance with your current employer this year or next year. But by the time you've been doing that for 2 or 3 years while you are working with this guy, by the time you're ready to branch out on your own, you are starting with lots of knowledge and transferable skills that make it easy or easier for you to grow your business. So there is no need in the beginning for you to pay for a sales consultant. These free resources are there. Come up with an information diet or podcasts or YouTube. When you're consuming this, when you're consuming this material, make sure you have pen and paper, so you can write down one or two things that make sense and that you can execute. Then drop a simple plan, and then execute it. So, okay, I listen to Victor Antonio. Victor Antonio says, whenever your customer says the price is too high, this is how I'm supposed to answer. No problem. You write it down. Then you now put that post-it note, leave it on your desk, so that next time you're on the phone and somebody says, oh, your price is too high, you just look at the post-it note, what Victor Antonio said. Just do exactly what it is that he said. If it didn't work, okay, go and talk to your guy, talk to other people. This was my strategy. I don't think I did this well. How could I have done it better? And then tomorrow, you try it again. By the time you do it a couple of times, by the time you've been doing this for a year, you will not be afraid. You will not shake anytime a customer calls you and says, oh, your price is too expensive. And the good news is, when you start your own business and you leave your own oga, and then somebody calls you and the person says your price is too expensive, you won't shake. You're confident because you have been answering people who say your price is too expensive over the course of the last year. And not only that, you've been listening to other people, whether it's Tavishima or Victor Antonio or any other person, to give you different strategies about how you should handle those sorts of things. Anyway, I've gone for 30 minutes, so let me just wrap it up here. But bottom line is this. For those of you who are trying to do business online, please research people before you reach out to them. That is the difference between your outreach being irrelevant, not targeted, ineffective, all kinds of things. So just do some basic research. Don't look at anybody for 10 minutes. Open the LinkedIn, see the LinkedIn header, the everything. Scroll down, 1, 2. Okay, close it. Open the website, look at it. Click on About Us. Go back to the main page, scroll down, flip, 1, 2, then close it. Open the Instagram, look at it, scroll, look at a couple of pictures, get a sense of what this person is like. Okay, this post seems interesting. Click on it, look at it, read it, then close it. All that won't take you up to 5 minutes. You will now be better prepared to call up this person or to go to their office or to go to their house or to try and have a conversation with them, after church or after mosque or whatever. And then for sales professionals, somebody else is paying your salary. I know you don't want to make Oga or Madam a millionaire, but it is not Oga and Madam that are suffering. You are the one who is suffering yourself. Oga and Madam, they'll be all right because they've built this business to the level that they've been able to even pay for you to come and work for them. So any which way, they'll be all right. Get an information that improve the performance of the business where you work, because the only way to do that is for you to improve yourself. And when you have improved yourself and you're moving on to something else and you're starting your own business, you're going to take all these transferable skills and the new confidence, the information, the everything with you, and that is what's going to help you grow your business. So let me just wrap it up like that. So please connect with me on WhatsApp for questions, tips, and insights. The phone number is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn, which is the best networking and business and career development social network. You can't say you want to improve yourself or improve your business and you're not on these places. So, you should. But of course, some of it is context dependent, because I'm currently talking to somebody who is in the Web3 space. And in his own opinion, look, Web3 is Twitter. That's where all the Web3 people are. So LinkedIn, there's no need. And in that case, I'll say, yeah, you're correct. As it stands in Nigeria of today, yeah, all the Web3 people, they all hang out on Twitter. Sorry, not Twitter. What's it called now? X. So that's where everybody hangs out. So yeah, it's context dependent, but I really think the rest of you would be able to benefit immensely by being on LinkedIn. Because for those of us who are there on LinkedIn, we talk about career, we talk about business, we talk about personal development, we talk about all kinds of things. But there's no twerking videos or no videos of you won't believe what this happened. No videos of Mr. Macron. None of those thirst trap videos and stuff like that. So you'll be able to go there, learn, hang out with like-minded people, and just have a productive time online, basically. So that's it. That's the end of my rant for today. Thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.